to the next episode of the Stock Market Options Trading Podcast. My name is Eric, and in this episode, I've got something I'm really excited about to share with you today. And I want to talk through some of the things that got me to this point, really. So first, I want to talk about Facebook groups. You're probably in a few Facebook groups. There's various trading groups out there. And I'm hoping and assuming that you can probably relate to some of the things I'm about to kind of talk about. So first, I run a Facebook group that's got over 7,000 members in it. I'm a member of a few different groups. And you would think that having 7,000 people in a common group who are all, there to talk about options or stocks or whatever it is, you'd think this would be pretty helpful. But over the past couple of years, I've come to the conclusion that not only is this not helpful, that it actually can hurt you. And let me explain why. So first of all, despite many kind of safeguards and questions and things that I've tried to put in place for my group, there's still spammers and scammers that are able to get into the group, and you know that they're ultimately trying to sell you something on the back end. They're constantly trying to convince you that their system or their group or some other Telegram or Discord or any other of these group areas, it would be beneficial for you to go join them or learn their method and all these things. And what that really does is it distracts you from whatever path you are on. So if you're talking about options, and there's a million ways to trade options, and I've got a few that work for me, but there's other ways too. So there's a lot of people trying to convince you that their way is best, and that's not actually what's best for you for where you're at on your journey or your educational path. So these people are going to try to get you into another group of theirs, and it could be about options or crypto, or they're going to detract you from your current educational path. And I don't think that's very helpful. And it just delays you getting to being profitable or consistent or whatever the goal is. So besides the spammers in the group that have something to sell you or convince you, there's other traders who are just in there to criticize people and in kind of a disrespectful way. You might post an idea, and I'm sure you've seen this before, where there's just a couple people that jump in there and they just start ripping the idea apart because maybe they don't understand it, or maybe it didn't work for them. They're going to give their opinion. And ultimately, this type of discussion, or whatever you want to call it, can cause a lot of doubt. There can be conflicting information, can be confusing to someone, especially if you're newer or trying to learn, or maybe you just picked up a book and you're starting at a different point than some of these people. It can be confusing and distracting, if you will. And don't get me wrong, I'm all about a respectful debate about different strategies and methods and things, but a lot of times these things turn disrespectful, and ultimately I get back to I don't know that this is helping that many people, at least for having 7,000 people in a group. I just don't know how helpful this is. There are very good traders in there that are trying to help. There's just something about Facebook that I think kind of makes this environment hard to really learn and really have a community there. So a couple more things about Facebook, my little Facebook rant here. There's also a lot of distraction and noise that Facebook, inherently has that makes it difficult to really focus on complex topics such as trading, options, technical analysis, whatever it is you're into. So here's an example. When I go into my Facebook account, sometimes I'll see a post maybe discussing various profit-taking ideas, and I say to myself, "Oh, this is valid. There's some good conversation going on. It sounds interesting. I'll try to participate." But when you look at the Facebook feed, right under it, I'm going to see, and this happened to me the other day, I see a post from a guy that I went to high school with that I actually barely even remember, but I'm friends with him, and he was friends with my high school friends. So I'm like, oh, I probably know this guy. And so there's this conversation about profit taking with options trading. And then right underneath that, he's posting like political memes, some funny, some negative. And then at the bottom of the app, I get sucked into the video watch or whatever they call it on Facebook, and you see a little red icon as if I'm missing something. And so I end up kind of going over there. I have this, OCD about going over there and making sure the red little, 2 or whatever the number is going away. So it's distracting. And when you're talking about options and stocks and things that have real financial consequences if you don't do it right, I just don't think it's the best place to learn. There's so much distraction and noise, And a lot of times you have to question the intention of some of the other participants there. And the last thing about Facebook groups is, there really isn't a common purpose. And it took me a while to get to this. And what I mean by a common purpose is I have a group that's called Vertical Spread Options Trading. And the idea was to really talk about vertical spreads, right? So that's sort of a mechanism, but that's not the purpose, but that we would do that. That's kind of what I was into. And, I trade a lot of those. And so without a common, purpose with the group, and this is partly my fault, by the way. I'm the admin of this group, and I never really set this purpose because I didn't understand the importance of it. But basically, Facebook groups are a little bit more based on topics and not purpose. And so what I'm doing to kind of, fix all this, if you will, is I brought up a new social network at stockmarketoptionstrading.net. It's totally free. And I wanted to personally invite you, if you're listening to this and you're a real trader and you're not trying to sell people on anything, I wanted to personally invite you to join the new network, which operates kind of like a Facebook, but it's free from all that distraction. We're not gonna have all the spam that Facebook inherently has with all the fake accounts and bots and all these things. But more importantly, the purpose of the group is this. We're bringing together stock and options traders to create consistent profits in the stock market so that we can achieve financial freedom and create lifelong income. That's the goal, and that's what we're focused on. And I think that if everyone who joins the group can focus on that goal, then we can have respectful debates around strategies because we all are on the same page and what we're trying to do. We're not trying to prove to each other which one is better or who's a better trader. We're all trying to achieve this goal and understand that that goal may look a little bit different for each of you. So for a listener of this podcast, this is also going to be a way for you to discuss some of the episodes that we put on here. I know that I get a lot of questions in email about that, but wouldn't it be cool that after an episode, you listen to an episode and you have some questions that you could go to the community and find the episode in the podcast section and comment and ask questions. For example, the last couple episodes, I featured David Sun, who's a fellow SPX trader. And David is in the network and he is willing to answer questions. He's willing to clarify some of the things that were on the podcast. And, some of the, maybe we didn't get to something, or maybe I interrupted him. I know I'm kind of known for that a little bit. But the point is, by having a community related to the podcast, we're going to be able to share information, clarify questions, and I think that's going to be more helpful than something like Facebook in a Facebook group. So if you're a real person who has a goal of financial freedom, trading stocks and options, and you're really tired of Facebook groups, and if any of this is resonating with you, I want you to join this new completely free social network. It's at stockmarketoptionstrading.net. And I tell you, I am personally hanging out in there pretty much every day. So if you want to talk to me or ask me a question about one of my videos or one of these episodes, you can post it there and you can tag me and I'm going to get back to you. It's going to be a better way to communicate, especially as a podcast listener, because there's not really a good way to do that with podcasts. So I'm looking forward to meeting you guys, talking with you, working towards our common purpose of financial freedom and lifelong income. And yes, there's even a mobile app for easy access. So it's going to be really cool. I hope to see you there. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you tonight, hopefully, at stockmarketoptionstrading.net. Thanks for listening.